I told you we don't serve beggars here. That's what he said to owner. I mean, right before he hurled a plate of steaming food across the tile floor, making this crash that echoed through the whole diner. You should have seen how nobody moved, nobody looked up, except for Clara James, who just stepped in front of the old man like her threadbare apron could shield him from that kind of shame. Rain was hammering the windows. A couple regulars pretended real hard not to notice. But in that moment, you just knew something had shifted, something small but seismic. Clara. She reached in her pocket, probably for her own tips, yeah. The ones she'd earned with smiles that went unnoticed and double shifts no one cared to remember, and said, "Then take it out of my tips." But, some people, they don't care about that. Next thing she hears, "You're fired. Get out." And just like that, the only thing standing between a hungry old man and the street was out of a job. The crazy part? The next morning, right as the sun was breaking through, you had this line 200 soldiers, no exaggeration, standing at attention outside that diner. Not for coffee, not for pancakes, for her. Now, Clara James, she was the kind of woman most folks overlooked. Not because she wanted it that way, it just sort of happened. 32, hair always pulled back tight, brown apron tied around her waist like armor. She'd opened Billy's Diner before the sun, and close up long after everyone else went home. Nobody asked why she worked so much. Nobody asked her anything, really. Maybe it was because Ridgefield, Kentucky, was the kind of town where you survive by keeping your head down, factories shut, storefronts peeling, everyone doing the best they could with less than enough. She had her reasons for grinding through every shift, and they traced back to a tiny, drafty apartment cracked window, one-eyed tabby cat named Smokey, a shoebox full of her granddad's warm medals under the bed. Her grandfather, Henry James, that man was tough as railroad spikes but had a heart soft as cornbread. He raised her when her parents vanished into their own mess. Always told her, "Honor's quiet, Clara," like sweeping the porch even if no one's coming over. He was gone now, but those words stuck. Stand tall, even when you feel small. So she did. She worked, she took care of Smokey, she paid her rent well, until last month, when her roommate skipped out and left her with nothing but overdue bills and a landlord who'd sooner evict you than say good morning. When she finally moved into this little room above an auto garage, it felt like Rock Botoma bathroom faucet that shrieked, an outlet that sparked if you looked at it wrong, and $64 in the bank. Still, she got up, pulled on that apron, walked to work in the rain, and brought Smokey whatever tuna she could sneak from the diner. People called her quiet, but that was just code for never asking for anything, never complaining when someone spilled coffee on her shoes or when her paycheck came up short. What they didn't notice was how much Clara noticed. The regulars who left lonelier than they came, the dishwasher with bruises, the ones who just wanted water and to disappear. She saw all of them, and she held it all in without a word. Most nights, she'd sit with her grandfather's dog tags in one hand and Smokey in the other, whispering, "We're okay. Still okay." But she was tired in her bones, tired in her heart. She never asked for a miracle. She just hoped for dry socks and maybe a better tomorrow. That's what happened. That one night, the diner nearly empty, door creaking open, rain coming down sideways, and walks this old guy in a tattered military coat, soaked clear through, leg wrapped in so much gauze you knew he'd seen things most people never would. He stands at the edge of the booth, not sitting, not even really looking for a place, just hoping nobody makes him leave. Clara walks up, towel still in her hand, and asks if she can get him something warm. All he wants is hot water. Maybe some bread if it's headed for the trash. His voice, man, you could hear it was full of the kind of pride that hurts to swallow. She'd heard stories like that from her granddad. So she grabs a plate of untouched chicken and dumplings, some extra bread, pours a coffee, and sets it down. "It's already paid for," she says and smiles. The man can barely believe it'll her. She reminds him of his late wife, says everyone deserves warmth. You could see Clara fighting back tears right then, but she holds it together. Across the room, the owner's watching, eyes narrowing. But Clara? She's just thinking about her grandfather, thinking about decency. The man eats slow, savoring every bite, then presses a rusted dog tag in her handle-eye turner. It reads and says, "If I don't make it through this winter, I want someone to know I existed." Then he vanishes into the rain. Before she even has a chance to breathe, the owner's at her, voice booming, face red. What the hell do you think you're doing? Clara stands her ground. He was a veteran. I paid for the coffee. You can take it out of my tips. But Wayne Becker, that was the owner, slams the counter, tells her she's fired right there, in front of everyone. And the saddest thing? Not one customer stood up for her. Not one. They just kept stirring their coffee, eyes down. So, Clara walks out, rain soaking her shoes, her arms hugging her bag, but her spine straight as a rail. In the alley, Eli Turner hobbles up, presses his dog tag in her hand again, says, "You reminded me I wasn't invisible," and disappears. That night, Clara's sitting in her cold little room, Smokey curled against her, staring at her phone bank account low, rent due, no backup plan. But she's got that dog tag, and for once, the strange feeling that she's done something right. Next morning, she wakes up to a text someone filmed her standing up to Wayne. It's all over the internet. But man, the comments are rough. Rules are rules. Bet this isn't the first time. She applies to 3 other diners. Nobody will hire her. Says it's too risky, too much attention. By sundown, she's wandering downtown, tired, and spots Eli Turner curled up at the bus shelter, just a tattered plastic sheet for warmth. She leaves him half a sandwich, "Thank you for remembering me," and walks away, not knowing a black SUV had pulled up nearby, a man in uniform watching and dialing his phone. The next morning, everything changes. The town wakes to the rumble of black SUVs pulling up outside Billy's diner. One by one, soldiers pile out, Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force lining the block in full dress uniform. People stop in their tracks, jaws dropped. Inside, Wayne Becker almost drops his glass when a decorated officer steps inside, says, "I'd like to speak to the owner." Turns out, he's Colonel Matthew Turner Eli's son. He tells everyone how his father saved him in Iraq, carried him under fire, gave up his own medal to feed others. And yesterday? Yesterday, a waitress did more for his dad than this town ever did. They bring Clara in, the soldiers parting to salute her. Colonel Turner hands her the very medal Eli had pawned to buy food. Tells her, "My father wanted you to have this." She tries to say no, but he presses it into her hand. The fallout is fast. The diner shuts down. Staff quit. Veterans protest. Wayne skips town. But Clara? She takes a job running the new community kitchen, backed by veterans, filled with laughter, warmth, and people who need it most. Smokey guards the window as always. A week later, a little boy comes in, says he saw Clara on the video, hands her $1 and a cookie, says, "My grandpa was a soldier too. Can I use this to help someone else?" And that's when Clara finally lets herself cry, just a little, as she nods. Eli Turner, the old vet, gets a bed at the VA, visits from his son and young soldiers who want to hear his stories. Clara keeps his dog tag and medal in a little box by her bed. Most nights, she whispers what her grandfather used to say, "Honor isn't loud. It's quiet. People move on." The video fades, the diner sits empty, but those who really saw what happened, they remember. Not because Clara made a speech or caused a scene, but because she did the right thing when nobody else would. And in a world moving too fast, sometimes it's the quiet choices, the plate of food, the silent kindness that echo the longest. So how about you? Have you ever stood up for someone when it was hard? Seen a quiet act of courage? Share it. Your story could be the one someone needs to hear today. Let's talk about what justice really means, what we owe each other, and why sometimes the strongest people are the ones who never raise their voices. You know what I mean?